Hello. Alright, last time we left off at sort of cleaning up some state. We got the rest of our road generation complete using pathfinding. We also got a little player character walking around on said road. We can take a look just to remember what we did. So you can see our little guy zooming around there super fast. I think what we want to do next is to add some control over timing and have things not update so frequently. So I'm going to go over how we're going to do that today. And we'll see what else we can get to. I also made a couple different changes. I added a YouTube link to the README, so that will go up today. It has all the past broadcasts in it. I also changed generate map so that it no longer relies on, and it no longer runs every time, regardless of whether or not it's actually generating or not. It only runs once, and we can actually see that change here. I gave a label to the spawn map, and for some reason I wasn't able to change it. I had to like chain it together with the spawn player. I had to use 2 after statements to get it to work right. Perhaps there's another way that's better of doing that, but this is what worked, so that's what I'm going with for now. Yeah, so just a little bit of code cleanup. Mostly worked on getting sort of the videos uploaded to YouTube so that people could check them out. It's good to have a history there in case people miss streams. And YouTube keeps videos around a lot longer than Twitch does. Which I think it's like 14 days, which isn't very long at all. Alright, so let's go ahead and commit that. Let me change this performance mode. There we go. Okay, so we have like game state of playing. In this particular case, we want to have on update generating. I think it makes sense to do that. And these are only going to run when the game state is set to generating. The question is, do we have something that keeps this from spawning more than one? Like, we might have more than one player right now. I think that's fine for right now. We can figure that out later if we do. That'll be a fun bug for future. day. So we need like a system set for update of state playing. Okay, and the first one, we'll have the camera movement system in there, so we can only move around after we've started playing. And then same with the player movement system. This one's actually going to be a little bit different too. I was looking into this and I was looking into run criteria. So I think the idea today is to have a way of blocking updates from happening in the game world so they don't happen so often. So basically our logic is going to run in a different timing than the rendering. This might not be the complete ideal way of doing this, but I think it'll work pretty well. Essentially, the should run will return yes if it's time to update sort of the like automated stuff in the game. And we don't want that to happen in real time. We want it to be based off of some sort of tick of time. Yeah, so we need to create a system to figure that out. If tick. It's going to return this should run. Make sure we mod it in. Alright, and then right now we'll just say should run is yes and check again. Interesting, I didn't know there was a yes and check again. So it says yes, the system should run, and afterwards criteria should be checked again. So I think that's what we want. And then we'll have like no and check again if it shouldn't update the systems. I'm just going to create a folder here called logic. And this is going to hold our systems that should run. Basically anything that controls like gameplay stuff should live inside here, I think. Maybe we'll call it gameplay. Still not liking this game folder, but whatever. Works for right now. And then let's mod that into here too. And just so that we can keep some sanity here, sort those lines ascending. Yeah, I did add a spelling create. Don't want to run that all the time though. is not what I wanted. File. Control which file schemas. Well, I'm gonna have to look at that later, but it's fine. Alright, so let's move player into there. And this will be game player. It's a little weird, it doesn't want to work right. Oh, there we go. Just took a second for the IntelliSense to catch up. Make sure the build's still good. Alright, and we should try to clean up some of this stuff too. Might need prelude later, but for now this is good. Fixed time step there. Just looking to see how we access the time. I don't remember. I need a docs link there, man. Sorry, get there. Alright, time. Yeah, this is what I want, I think. Is this a resource though? Let's find out. Well, this is gonna take forever. I think that it's a resource. Example city. Mini sprites. Yeah. So we want that. And we're gonna need like a custom struct to keep track of like the duration. What does time give us though? Second since startup. Yeah, I think we want to use that. What does this give us? Duration. And seconds since startup of 64. That should work. I mean, that's way too much of time, but every 5 seconds we update. I feel like from a gameplay perspective, that's way too much. Timing. Timing dot last time equals current. Actually, we could do it like this. This needs to be res mute. This has to be mute. Oh, right. This is this one. The specs default, right? Yeah, it's private too. Great. Alright. It's gotta be public. Drive default. There we go. Okay. So now we only want these systems to run if we get a should run there. With run criteria. Run if host. It's not what we want. We want our timing dot run if tick dot system. Wait, do you say dot system there? Yeah. Okay, I thought so. Oh, that's not about duh. Okay. So now our player character should update every 5 seconds. Oh. We don't want the camera movement in there though. That's gonna be awful. Let's see though. Maybe that's not doing what I think it is doing. No, these issues are like the hardest to figure out. Like, what is it doing right now? I have no idea. It's just a weight cursor. It's not helpful. Okay. If we chop that out, what do we get? Did we break something? Okay, so it has to do with that. Why would that block everything else though? Don't understand that. It should only let's go look up the docs for that. Oops. Let's keep the docs open so that we can read them. Assigns a run criteria to the system. Don't understand. Let's look at our thing here. Oh, less than 5? Hello? Greater than 5. Brain is a bit slow today. Yeah, I didn't think that would fix it because either way, it's like this shouldn't affect everything else. I wonder if it's because yeah, it's not chained. Pretty sure systems run in parallel with each other. It says that on the website book. Alright, let's try to triage this though. So we just get criteria not met the whole time. I don't understand how that's blocking everything else though. It should only block things in relation to this system set. No? Because, I mean, according to the run criteria here, like you have run if host, run if connected. So, like, if you're host, you have a different path. And if that's no, you're not going to block the smoke and water and keyboard and gameplay input. I wonder if this before is important. I think that's just in relation to the ordering of you want your server stuff to run before your input from the player. Yeah, and like if you're a host here, you have the host session, player moment, enemy AI that you're running in addition to everything else. I wonder if it's because we're using the states with that. Because states are implemented using run criteria, it is tricky to combine them with other uses of run criteria, such as fixed time step. Aha! If you try to add another run criteria to your system set, it would replace Bevy's state management run criteria. This would make the system set no longer constrained to run as part of a state. It may be possible to accomplish such use cases using some trickery. Okay. I think you could do it with some trickery. In our case, I think we can do it with some trickery. But how? Because this essentially this on update that takes state, like what state you're targeting, is a excuse me, is a run criteria, and it's not gonna like merge with this other run criteria. It's interesting that it just straight up crashes though. That seems weird to me. It doesn't really crash, it just freezes everything. I feel like if you have something like this where a nice error message would be handy, since that's not supported. Alright, so how do we do this? There's a couple different options. Option A. Here's an idea. Probably wouldn't be good, but our timing is just a standard system, not a run criteria system, just a standard system. It runs all the time, every frame. It's just checking to see if we've hit that criteria met scenario where we have 5 seconds of game time that have passed. If it has, then it marks the resource as should run. In our movement, we check that. We say if should run, if not should run, return. And then at the very end, we can have another system that clears that out. That would wait for the other systems to finish. Can you add labels to a system set? That would make that easier. Yes. You can give a label to a system set. Okay. I wonder if it's because we have two system sets that both use on update game state playing too. It probably doesn't like that. Like, I wonder if we got rid of the camera movement. I'm betting this works. No. Okay. Interesting. Last time should be 0, so I'm just curious about that because I feel like you should get yes and checking again. That time doesn't make sense. Seconds since startup. Why is it? I guess because we're frozen. We're literally frozen with this code here. Okay. And if we just run this all the time and not care about the state, what happens then? It still freezes. What? It shouldn't though. Man, that is so weird. Like, this should be the equivalent of that. Just in a system set. Okay, it is. With run criteria. It really doesn't like that. Alright, so we just handle that on our own. We could just make each system that we create. I don't want to do that. I was gonna say we could just make each system check, but the logic for it should be shared. I don't want to impact the rendering at all, just the game update. still think we want to keep these separated just because we want to make sure that it's just more orderly that way, I think. Real-time update's such a weird name, but whatever, it works. Used for non-gameplay items that should update every frame. There we go. Now we understand what that means. Okay, back to how we do this. Okay, so that should basically be what we had before, but we'll have this new system that tells us that we should update. And if we scroll back up to 5, criteria met. Okay, cool. And we also want this to be and timing dot. Oh, it's not, that doesn't matter because we're resetting the time to whatever the current time is. Okay. And then here we'll just if timing dot. Okay, I hit 5 seconds, and he warped to some place that I have no idea where. Oh, there he is. Yeah, nice. Alright, 5 seconds is ridiculous though. Let's clear out that too. We don't need this debug stuff anymore. Every half second. Let's try that. Right there. That looks way better. Our guy's actually moving like, you know, not so fast, more realistically. Uh, okay, cool. So that's like step one and linearly interpolating. Like he's still like jitter stepping, but that's what we want for this particular system. The next step is going to be taking that ID and moving him more slowly along it, but only updating the how far he steps. Yeah, I'll show you. But yeah, that's working pretty good. I'm curious why he's off-centered from everything else, though. Tile map might be rendering strangely. I don't think strangely is the right word. I think it's rendering with the center of the tile being 0, 0. Which means that our guy is slightly off by 8 pixels by 8 pixels. Consistently though, he's always to the southwest of the tile that he's actually on. So let's fix that first. This should be easy enough. Oh wait, it wouldn't be minus, it'd be plus 8. Yeah, there we go. Well that's bugged. Interesting. Don't resize Bevy tiled windows. Bevy tile map windows, they apparently break. Okay, but yeah, that's fixed. So now he actually is on the road and not slightly off the road. Because essentially we just hard-coded our... The middle of the tile is where he should be at. Another option would be to shift the whole tile map by 8 pixels to the bottom left corner, but that doesn't make much sense. Maybe, I don't know. I don't like having 0, 0 be the center of the tile. I think it should be top left, personally. I wonder if Sprite has like a origin position, so you can offset it, or like an offset. You could just, if we set that, then that would make more sense, and then the transform would automatically figure out what to position the unit. Alright, that seems like a good place to commit though. Slow down. How fast our player moves around the road. I'm trying to decide, like, maybe just kind of looking at it, it's not too bad. It's like a chessboard almost. we still have to fix that generation bug. But like, as far as like a chessboard, what I mean is like, it's like doot 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 doot, like it's. I was thinking of like smoothly interpolating between each tile, but maybe this is alright. It's not like we have walking animations for this yet. But yeah, I think the important thing is that when we have enemies and stuff, other things that move on the map, they move in a consistent tick as to what the player moves. And I think at this point he's probably moving too fast too. Which is another reason why I want to interpolate, I think. We just have to think about how we want to do that, because like right now we're talking about gameplay in terms of like, it's almost turn-based, but automatic turn-based. It's just like we're slowing down time. And maybe instead we want to have the time be just real time, and then just set a speed that the sprite moves at. But I still kind of like the idea though of like the player moves, the enemies move at the same time. And if you stop, then the enemies stop. Kind of like that more rogue-like feeling. We'll see. Okay, so next I want to fix. That's a good place to stop with that for today, but I want to do something else. And for that we have to go diving into the Bevy code base. So I wish there was a way, and there currently isn't, and maybe I should open a PR up for this because it would be relatively easy. If you have a orthographic camera, let's see, I think it's in rendering graphics. Oh, I'm in examples. Oops, I went crates. That's my bad. Bevy renderer. So if you have an orthographic camera projection, currently it always is locked to the size of the screen. But I'm going to show you this cool trick you can do where you can make essentially your pixels bigger and have like the same screen size. So essentially we'll just have larger pixels by changing what the width and height is when it does this sizing. So the first thing you gotta do is you gotta calculate, or you gotta copy over this entire component, unfortunately. And it cannot have the same name as the one that's already there, so when I did this before, I called it custom orthographic camera. Technically, actually, you might be able to do this by adjusting the left, right, and bottom and the top when you set this up. I wonder if that would work. It probably would. But it would still be based off of like this width divided by 2.0. Yeah, no, that would override it. Never mind. those are the defaults, but they get overwritten by this update function here. And we don't care about any of these other cases or matches other than this window size and centering. And all you have to really do is just divide by a bigger number so that you get a more zoomed in look. And that's it. That's all there is to it. And the only other thing is when you create your camera in, I think we're doing that in, where is it? Setup, wherever we moved that. Loading, I think. Yes. No? No. Spawn map. Yeah, here we go. We shouldn't have this here, but it is here for right now. We'll just change that to custom orthographic projection. And we need to mod that in. It's gonna complain a bunch because I'm not using Bevy. There we go. Import some of these other things. Yeah, so this is essentially what you would do for a custom like projection scheme. Maybe I just want default. Because what did new 2D do? How is that a thing? Oh, it's on the bundle. Oh, right, because we need the bundle as well. Okay, that's easy enough. Not there. It says camera. Orthographic camera bundle. Yeah. Alright. We're just gonna shove it in here because lazy. And this would be custom. Just import all these. Oh, oops. It's gonna be custom. That. Custom. Actually, self. So if I rename that in the future, it doesn't matter. Alright. Anyways, the way this works is that the you don't actually need to Okay, there we go. The way this works is that the bundle has a projection, like this camera projection in it, and it, yeah, obviously I did something wrong because it doesn't work, but I think we have to insert the component in somewhere, and that's done through the bundle. Yeah, so the bundle, this custom orthographic projection uses this camera projection trait. So Bevy automatically knows that it can use that to calculate the projection matrix for the shader. So that's all it is really. The question is, why isn't it working? I did do this once before and it worked. So I'm a little confused. Oh, you know what? Wait, no, that should work. There's something else that I'm missing though, I'm pretty sure. We just have to search for it. Yeah, register type, that's right. Well, now I gotta go look at old code. Oh yeah. You have to add the system, otherwise it won't update. And it's not gonna be like this because this is done differently. We gotta go diving the code base again, because that was for 0.4. Right. Nope. I'm searching all of GitHub. How did that happen? Code, there we go. Okay. Still searching all of GitHub. Core stage, that's what it's called now. Pre-update, right? Post-update. Is there anything else to it? 4 visible entities. Thank you. What? No, didn't save. Okay, so this should be essentially the same thing we had before. Go back to here. Gonna be way zoomed in at first now. Yeah. So there's our guy moving around. So you can see we have way bigger tiles, and we can still zoom out. You got way bigger pixels essentially. So depending on how many pixels you actually want to fit on the screen, you can choose to have bigger pixels. You don't always want to do that for 2D, but for an art style like this, it makes a lot of sense because it just looks really good like this. Like you got big chunky pixels. I think the aesthetic is nice. Another way to do this, and currently there's a bug, but another way to do this would be to, when you're zooming with our camera code, you would let it go smaller than 1, because that's like a 1-to-1 ratio with the pixel on the sprite to the pixel on the screen. And so essentially what we did here was we said now the pixels are 4 times as big, I think is what it is. So each pixel on the sprite is 4 pixels, maybe 6 pixels on the screen. But yeah. The scale method doesn't work because of a bug in Bevy. Let's see here. Community GitHub. Scale. Orthographic. I'm pretty sure you can find it. How do I get back to PRs? Yeah, 2D camera renders nothing if scale is less than 1. Likely has to do with the depth. And some people fixed it using a different method than what I did. Here they did, they set the near distance to something different. Near far distance to something different, which works as well. I think my method works a little bit better, and I think we might even do scaling through that instead of through this, like zooming in and out through that versus through the scale transform.scale, because essentially this seems to introduce a lot of artifacts because we can't guarantee that we have whole pixels, where if we actually did it here, we could guarantee that we have whole pixels, if that makes sense, when we're zooming in and out. So that's what we are going to do to fix our zoom, which means that it's good that we did it this way anyways. So essentially this would be our zoom factor here, with 2.0, not even 2.0 being all the way zoomed out, but we'll have some sort of initial zoom in. Maybe 6.0 is as close as you can zoom in, and then maybe 0.5 would be as far as you could zoom out, which means that you would double the pixels. The pixels on the screen would be double. Actually, yeah, not double, like double smaller, but that doesn't really make sense. Essentially, you have like, you just scaled it down more, so you end up with like not smaller pixels but less pixels, which maybe isn't good. And if you're zooming out, you need less detail anyways, so it's not as big of a deal. Anyways. Cool. Alright, that seems like a good place to commit to. Although, let's set this to 4, because I think 4 was a little better. Just double check. Is there a scale on the actual projection now? I don't think there is. Oh, there is scale right there. Interesting. Maybe that will work better than the transform scale. But you still have to make sure that your values are whole numbers. Otherwise you get like half, quarter, like really weird fractional pixels. Which doesn't make sense. Also, hello. Thank you for watching the stream. Switch this over to something else. Okay. I was looking at UI solutions too, because I think it'd be really cool if we could like edit things in the game world as it was on screen. Not so much like a game UI, but like a debugging UI. And this eGUI, sorry, inspector for Bevy seemed pretty interesting. Might want to give that a try. I don't know how customizable it is, and it might be that I just like look at the source and try that. I don't know, that seems like a lot of source though now that I say that. But it has things like I don't care about too. A bunch of rapier types and stuff, so. I also wonder, like, oh yeah, you can make it inspectable. There we go. That will be really cool and useful for debugging, because I can just like open up the debugger, click on the player, and just be like, change the player name, change the player health, and then when I'm actually coding the game or testing it out, like I feel like they'll make things go a lot smoother. And then I was also looking at audio beyond what Bevy offers. I don't know. This Kira audio seems pretty cool. I was kind of looking at all of the Bevy awesome stuff. just seems like there's a lot more like new stuff in there. I had looked at Big Brain a while ago. The time I don't think it was in Bevy though. It looks like it got rewritten for the Bevy game engine, which is pretty cool. And we might use that for the AI in our game, if we can figure out how it works. I've never done AI before, so I think that's going to be pretty fun. I look forward to the challenge there. Yeah, and then physics, we don't really need anything because the type of game it is doesn't really require physics. For networking, I thought it would be cool if oh cool, yeah. I think they had examples, or maybe it was in a different they at least have one example here, their system. So yeah, maybe there's more examples that they haven't ported over yet, but yeah. When this first came out, like, it was before Bevy was out, and they had implemented, the author had implemented it in, not Legion, but I think it was, oh, I forget the name of it. The original Rust ECS, though, framework. The one that everybody used for the longest time, including Amethyst, before Legion came out. And then when Bevy came out, it seems like everybody's in love with that now, so. I like it though. I like having options, and I did use Legion for a while. It was nice, but Bevy is just like the ECS in it alone is just much nicer than anything else that I've used so far. But yeah, so I'm interested to see like where that's heading and all that. And then networking. I was thinking it'd be really cool if long-term goals, it would be really cool if you could have like a local LAN party and you could boot up with some friends in the game and you start at different places on the map and sort of just try to compete with each other to see who can get to the end, if you can call it that, first. So that might be a cool idea, but again, don't know how well that would fit in with the type of game it is, and also networking is hard, not easy. I know that from experience. And typically you should try to do it from the ground up and not slap it on after your game is done. Although you can slap it on after your game is done, it's just a lot more work. But maybe like a super goal that we'll never get there, but it would be nice if we did. But yeah, so some of these other crates and stuff, I haven't been in the community for, like, I stepped out for like almost like a year. Maybe it wasn't that long. It felt like a year though. And then there's all this new stuff that's really cool. And I still have to work on Bevy Tiled and clean that up and make it use the new tile map crate. I wonder if it'd be a cool idea to use like Lion for the UI. Yeah, I figured it was August or something, but I don't know, time flies. And then it feels like it's like much longer. Let's just say I was out from like 0.2 until 0.4, almost 0.5. So I missed like all the middle meat of Bevy's development. uh, okay, yeah, so good time to commit now. And then just remind myself what we did here. We added a custom camera. Alright. So what's next? Like, what do we do next? There's like a lot to do still. I'm gonna give it like some thought on how I want the player to move along our map. And just think like, okay, how is that going to work? Do I want to keep it sort of like this old school roguelike sort of like single step movement that's in step with the enemy's movement, meaning when the player moves, enemies move, player stops, enemies stop? Or do I want to make things like more smooth and have it like smoothly follow the path? I need to think more on that first, on what direction I want to go there. Yeah. And then we should probably do some more generation stuff, because we're gonna have to find a good way of placing enemies along our road. Probably doing like some sort of like the AI for the enemies is going to make sure that they can't move away from a road more than like 4 or 5 tiles, so that you're more likely to encounter them on the road. And then maybe some enemies also, when they see you, they start chasing after you and they're faster than you. That's another idea too. So they'll be able to catch up to you. But the combat, what I'm kind of thinking about for that is sort of like Advanced Wars slash Fire Emblem style, where it's automated and you're just watching it play out, with a few different exceptions. Those being like, you can say like toggle a health potion or like change out equipment mid battle if you want to. Yeah. But essentially we'll have these cool backgrounds and then some nice sprites that will be on top for the combat, and it'll just be like kind of platformy style looking graphics, like side view, exactly kind of like how Fire Emblem looks. Just, I like that. It looks really cool and clean like that. And then that makes that part of gameplay simple and like more quick, which I think is what you want for this type of game. Like, you want to get through battles quick, and it's not about, it's about the battles, but not as much as how you manage your party, which paths you take to get to your destination, and sort of the management of that, of your journey, versus each individual battle along the way. The battles are more like the icing on top of the cake versus the actual cake part, if that makes sense. Okay, so stuff to work on. What to do next? I think enemy placement. So I mentioned we keep them close to the road, but how to spawn them in the first place. And you should do that when after the map's sort of done generating. Really probably in the same function, like just make it part of the map generation and just spawn entities on the map. Although, yeah, no, that's right. That'll work good. And then we also need to generate like an overworld map, which is going to be more tedious. The idea I have behind that though is to zoom the Perlin out farther and generate a smaller section of that map. Like the same size island, right? But it's just going to be more zoomed out so you have less pixels. So that maybe it's like a 16 by 16 pixel space or something bigger. We'll see what is efficient as far as generation goes. And then from there, you randomly place that 16 by 16 or 32 by 32 pixel island, however big it is, into our map image, you would say. Not really an image, probably a tile map. And then that would be the overview map. So like where those are, those would be randomly positioned. And then you just add some basic logic to make sure that islands aren't positioned right on top of each other. That's easy enough to do with just a distance check. And since they're going to be square, you can kind of assume they're round, and then distance checking works fine. The other thing you could do is just this like bounding box check as well, to make sure that none of them are overlapping. And if one is overlapping, then you can move it somewhere else. And then probably need to figure out like how many islands we can fit on our like overview map. And then we have some other cool things that we'll have to figure out how to do, like maybe the islands should have names. In which case, you should, well, if they have names, then that kind of implies that you might go back there. And maybe from a gameplay perspective that's good. Because you can skip over an island, you know, like you can go to an island and the first time around it, it'll be like standard difficulty. But if you want to go through the island again, it's going to be harder. But you'll get better loot. So maybe you come back later on to get that better loot. A thought. But yeah, the idea is that these islands that you travel to, you have to go to them island by island to get to your destination, because you don't have enough supplies to stay on the ocean for that long. So you basically have no supplies at all. You're super low on supplies because you've gone through this huge journey to get to this area of the world. And so you have to land on these islands, and then you discover that there's enemies, monsters, maybe different people that have lived there before. So there might be like castle ruins or dungeons that you have to go through on some of the islands that are, you can optionally go through them. It's like a challenge thing. And then on the islands you find supplies that you need to get to the next island. And maybe you can also skip islands, like there might be an island between the one that you're at and then one further off that's closer to where you're trying to get to. But you can't get there because you don't have enough supplies, so you die before you could reach there from hunger or thirst or whatever. Your ship breaks down. Lots of ideas. Okay, so, but enemy placement. I think that's pretty easy to do. The question is, like with our sprites, let me open up them in ASE. Okay, do we have a sprite that's like an enemy? Not really. We just have like people sprites in the sprite pack. Try to find like a 8-bit spider or something that I can use. Or just make one. Is that transparent? No. No. Transparent. I guess it is. Okay. Alright, I need a reference image if I'm gonna try to do this. Yeah, like this. (16 by 16) doesn't give us much pixels to work with. Alright, let's try making it like that lighter gray color. So we got like this middle part. It's gotta be more round though. How do I erase? What's the shortcut for that? E and then M, B, E and B. Okay. And it's kind of like more flat-ish, like this. E. Then we have like legs that go off. Let's do the back legs later. To get these front legs done. Really long legs, but maybe less like that. Let's see. That's kind of like the outline's pretty good there. And then just like fill this part in. give it size. Let's make them red. Like right here, and it's kind of like let's see, here and here. Man, that looks weird. This leg right here is kind of messed up because I just didn't have enough space. Pixel art is hard. Let's erase this leg for now. It doesn't have like that beady eye look. Don't like those legs at all. I think our problem is our body here is just too... I want to start over. Need more space, and we can scale it down if we need to. Need space to work with. Okay. Want some circles. Convinced about those eyes, man. And then this leg's gotta come like up, so I need like a different color gray. Maybe this one. It's gotta come up like, let's see, wait, from where? From like here. switch to a regular color here. Okay, and then this can fill in. Then we have another leg like back here. And then some legs in the background here, like okay, that's looking pretty good so far. But this top leg here is not really, and we need like a good outline for the body. Alright, let me try again. We're getting crazy, but okay. So it's almost like a triangle for the second part. So we have like this. Thorax, like that, except it's more rounded at the top. It's like flat at the bottom, that's what I'm missing. Yeah. And then like a triangle shape. It kind of comes up like this. But not so aggressive and not so long. It's kind of like this though. And he's got like those fangs. Oops. Let's skip the fangs for right now. Let's just focus on this part. I don't know if I want that to be part of the body though. Let's see here. What is it like? Just straight like that, and then that's black. It's not black. What color is that? What? should be black, dude. Oh, am I in eraser mode? No. Okay. So that's black. Interesting. Sunlight on my screen, man. I think that's black. That looks black. Alright, how do we do layers in this ASC? I just bought it, so I'm a noob. Let's see. Layer. New layer. Oh, nice. Layer editor. And that's gigantic though. There we go. Alright, and then we're gonna give it some legs. Let's see. Same color. Yes, for now. Don't worry, because we're going to do this. How do I move it? There we go. Perfect. Now I'm not drawing on top of it. Alright, now this is where I need to turn off the body layer. Yeah, and then just do something like this. Okay, you can't see it, but we're gonna do this FX outline. Oh, not on layer 1. FX outline. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then bring it back up to the top. And then clean it up. How do we clean it up? This is hard. Something so 3D like this, it does not look good yet. I need some inspiration. It's not really like the look I'm looking for. Those are too cartoony. Something like darker looking. Open game art, give me some inspiration. How I should implement this. Platform spider. Man, that's like too MS Paint, man. No offense, but I think I've seen some on Itch that I like. I don't want games, I want assets. Game assets. Then we can just find one here to use and then edit it to how we want. I know there's these like, these ones are good. This guy's like got some pretty good art. Yeah, so this is like the style I like. I'll probably end up using a lot of these because I'm not an artist. But I want to get better. Maybe a spider's a little ambitious though. Like, what does a bat look like? Where's that bat again? Oh, it's animated, so that's difficult, but I guess it's just got like the shape of a bat. And then like just some like dark outlines underneath. Excuse me. To like indicate the bottom portion. Here's the spider-like thing. Huh. Doesn't really show like overlapping very much with like the main body. That one's a good one. This guy, I think he's got some other stuff that's pretty good. No spiders there. Oh, this guy's got some good stuff. Yeah. Heck, I might buy some of these because they're so good. Some of them are free though, which is nice. Like these fantasy creatures. Like that skeleton's like on point right there. Using commercial and non-commercial projects. CCO. Creative Commons 0. What does that mean? No rights reserved. Summary, please. The person who associated a work with the deed has dedicated the work to the public domain by waiving all of his or her rights to the work worldwide under copyright law, including all related and neighboring rights to the extent allowed by the law. You can copy, modify, distribute, and perform the work, even for commercial purposes, all without asking permission. See other information below. Okay, alright, that sounds good. I think these high detail ones are more like what we want on the battle screen though. But still like really high quality. Like I'd totally pay $15 for that. No problem. Some of these don't really fit with the style of game we're making. But yeah. Let's see if we can find some inspiration though for our spider. Can I search by spider? No. Okay. Just keep looking. Spider's such a common enemy. You think there would be one around here somewhere. Oh, this guy's got some good stuff too. Wait, did we already look at this guy? No. Do you have a spider? Spider. Come on, man. Spider's classic. Oh, those are really cool if we were doing something sci-fi. Slimes are pretty classic too. But I want a spider. Yeah, itch is great for assets though. I mean, there's so many, and they're not like that expensive either. Like these skeletons are really good, like a good variety, and $8.40. Like, I'm not endorsing any of this, but I'm just saying it's really nice to like just have access to this kind of stuff as a game developer. When I first started game developing, you had none of this. If you wanted this, you had to make it yourself. But yeah, this is cool. Alright, let me search for spider again. I don't want to browse games. I want to... Can I not filter here? Oh, that's kind of what I'm looking at for. A little cartoony though. Pseudo 3D. Oh, that's kind of cool. Alright, I'm done. Let's get back to our art. Maybe just a different, like, gray for the body outline. And then what if we started erasing some of this stuff up here? What? There we go. We need some pixels between here and here. Which ones to use though? What eye? I don't know, maybe this outline should be this blue too. Or maybe just like a linear gradient between the top and bottom with this blue, this like dark color being this dark gray as like the end. Let me try that. How do I do a gradient? I think I saw it before, yeah. And then we need like new. Yeah, that's what I want. Gradient tool. No, oh, we can dither? Oh, that's cool. Let's dither. Okay, and then like, ooh. Oh, we can dither like more in the front or the back. What does it look like with a different matrix though? Like, what's this one look like? Oh, that's like crazy. Like color banding. I feel like it's like that 8x8 is nice. If we just like shift it towards the back more. And then maybe darken in this spot here. What if we just make the legs darker too? I'm not really digging this light gray that we have right now. Is there like a find and replace for adjustments? Despeckle. Replace color from. Alright, eyedropper tool. Why can't eyedropper that? Can I swap these? How do I swap the colors I have currently? There we go. Okay, and then we can replace color. Oh, I only did it for that one layer. Yeah. Oops. Okay. Yeah. Darken that up. Alright. And then. Hey, look at that in the bottom right, the preview. Actually, that looks pretty spidery now. I like that. The outline's gotta change though to a different gray. Like something in between these two colors, I think. So like, oh, you can use the eyedropper by holding Alt. Thank you. Alright, so something between this and this. And then we want to replace, how about that? There we go. Layer 1. Let's see. Is layer 2? Oh, that's not good. Erase. Alright, let's rename this body. And legs. Okay, and then bring back the red eyes. What? Oh, I'm on legs still. Okay, and then color replace this color with something darker. And maybe more towards the blue spectrum. Like right there, maybe. What? Oh my goodness, did I name these wrong? Ugh. Alright, let's try that again. Place color. This color. With that color. Okay, that's too close to what we had. Oh, they didn't keep our changes though. Let's see. Oh, actually that black looks good. And then save it as ESC. That way we can edit it again in the future. Alright. I like that. That's a good place to end for today. Just working on art. I think that's not bad for my first spider sprite. I think the front legs could be more like arched than what they are. But overall it's pretty good. Alright, next time we're gonna work on getting this little spider sprite actually on the map and spawning in different places. And we'll go from there. One idea might be to have like a spider den tile that gets randomly placed along the road. And then that's where the spiders spawn from. Because if you go around the island once and you kill everything the first time, the second time around, we're going to need some way of spawning enemies again. And from like a place that makes sense based off of the generation that we had the first time around. And it shouldn't just be like the same exact places either, but in the general location where you would expect it to be based on what happened last time. If that makes sense. So yeah, we'll work on that tomorrow. Well, maybe not tomorrow, but next time I stream. Yeah. All right. Let me make sure I pushed everything. Oops. Let's see. Push. Yeah. All right. And that's it for today's stream. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time.